Hello, welcome to Lesson 10, Graphing Equations. Today we are going to learn how to graph an equation when it is in slope-intercept form. Let's look at a slide. Remember, y equals mx plus b. M is equal to the slope, b is equal to the y-intercept. And in the numerical example, we have the equation y equals 1/2 x minus 5. In this example, the slope is 1/2 and the y-intercept would be -5. Remember, minus means negative. So the y-intercept will tell you where the line crosses the y-axis. So let's look at our graph. This is our y-axis and this is our x-axis. So our y-axis is vertical and our x-axis is horizontal. So let's go back and let's look at the slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Remember that m stands for the slope and b stands for the y-intercept. And I'm going to abbreviate the y-intercept with y-int. So the number in front of x will always be your slope, and the number hanging out by itself is your y-intercept. So let's practice graphing some of the equations that I have listed on the board. So number 1, y equals 2x plus 4. Well, our slope is going to be 2, which is 2 over 1. It's best to always have your slope written as a fraction. So slope would be 2 over 1. And our intercept, where the line crosses the y-axis, is simply 4. So we're going to plot the y-intercept first. So on our y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, we will come up 4 units and we'll place a point there. And then we go back to our slope, which is 2 over 1, which means we would go up 2 units and right 1. So from this point, we would go up 2 units and right 1. Now, why did I go up? Remember, slope is rise over run. So since it's a positive 2, I would go up 2. It's a positive 1, I go right 1. Okay? So our first line would look something like that. Okay? It's going up and to the right. And remember, positive slopes are a good thing. Think of your grades. Your grades are going up. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to talk about rise over run. Okay. So our rise is the change in our y values, and our run is the change in our x values. So if we're going to go, our rise would mean up or down, okay? Up or down. Okay, that's what our rise is. It's our y-axis. Are we moving up or down? Our run is, are we moving left or right? Okay, and think about that. That's our x-axis. It's horizontal. So if we move left, we would have a negative value. If we move right, we would have a positive value. If we move up, that's positive. If we move down, that's negative. Okay, so that'll come into play when we're using our slope to find our second point. So up is a positive value, down is a negative value in your numerator position. Left is a negative value in your denominator position, and right is a positive value in your denominator position. Okay, so let's move on to our second equation. Okay, our second equation states that y is equal to 3x minus 5. So which one is our y-intercept? It's simply the -5. Remember, minus means negative. So our y-intercept this time is -5. So on my y-axis, I would simply come down 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I would place a point. Okay, we've got our first point. And we're going to use the slope to find our second point. So the slope is 3, which is 3 over 1. Remember, you can make any whole number into a fraction by placing 1 as the denominator. Okay, so 3 is equal to 3 divided by 1. So this tells us that from our -5 point on our y-axis, we would go up 3 units, 1, 2, 3, and right 1. Okay, connect your points, and we have another positive slope. Okay, look at your number in front of the variable x, and that's going to tell you if you have a positive slope or a negative slope. If there was a minus sign in front of that 3, our line would have been going down and to the right. Okay, so Hopefully you are understanding and following along. All right, let's look at number 3. This time, if we just analyze that, I can tell that my slope is going to be a fraction. It's already written as a fraction. It's 1/2. Okay, so up 1 unit, right 2 units. But before we can do anything with our slope, we need to plot our y-intercept, which is -7. So we're going to come down 7 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we place our point. Okay, our slope this time is 1/2, which means we would go up 1 unit and right 2. So up 1 and right 2. Our line should be going up and to the right because we have a positive slope, and it's going to, all right, try to keep our line as straight as possible. So we have another positive slope going up and to the right. Okay, so far so good. All right, so let's move on to number 4. This time, look at what's happened. I've traded places with my y-intercept and my slope. So you always have to be careful to look for your variable x. Whatever's in front of x, the coefficient of x will be your slope. So my y-intercept is -8. So I'm going to come down to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and place my point. Okay. My slope is -5, which is -5 divided by 1. Now, this is where it gets a little bit different. From this point, I cannot go down 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. My graph is too small. I run out of room. So what you should do is just give the negative sign to the denominator, okay? So -5 divided by 1 is the same thing as 5 divided by -1, okay? Those two fractions represent -5. So what does that mean? That, what would we do now? Well, remember how I said your rise is is the change in your y values. Your run is the change in your x values. Well, now I have a 5 as my numerator. It's positive, so I'm going to go up 5 units. I have a -1 as my denominator, so I would go left 1. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and left 1. Okay? So we went up 5 units and left 1. Then I connect my points, trying to keep my line as straight as possible. I don't know if I can do that without a ruler. Fairly good. A little bit of a crooked line, but you get the point. So I have I'm not very happy with that line. Let's see if I can do better. So we've got this linear equation, and linear equations mean they're going to be straight lines, and I need to make that look better. Okay, that's a little bit better. But notice, our line is going down and to the right, okay? Let's go back and look at that equation. Do we have a minus sign, a negative slope? Yes, -5. So that lets me know that my line should be going down and to the right. If you would happen to plot that line and it's going up and to the right, that's an automatic, a little hint, a little indicator that you have plotted wrong. All right, so negative slopes means you're going to go down to the right. Positive slopes means that your line should be going up and to the right. All right, so we are on number 5. And look at number 5. Y is on the right-hand side of the equal sign now, okay? Slope-intercept form says y equals mx plus b. But technically, y's alone, so it's in slope-intercept form. It's okay. If you want to rewrite it and put y on the left, go ahead and write y equals 6x plus 1/3. All I did was traded places. I put my y on the left, I put my slope up front, 6x, and I let my y-intercept tag along. But notice your y-intercept this time. It's 1/3. It's not a whole number, so 1/3 is not even 1. So if I would change 1/3 to a decimal, it would be 0.333. 1 divided by 3, it would be 0.3 repeating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up barely above 0, okay, on my y-axis, and I'm going to put a point there. You guys see that? And then my slope is 6, which is 6 over 1, okay? Lord, my handwriting is bad sometimes. So 6 over 1. So from point 3 on my y-axis, I'm going to go up 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and over 1. Okay? So it's not in the corner of any of these boxes because my y-intercept is a decimal, 0.3. So I went up 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, 5 units, 6, and then over 1. Okay? And then I would simply connect those 2 points. Okay, connect these 2 dots best I can. And I have a line that's going up and to the right. I should have a positive slope. I go back and look at my equation, and my slope is positive. It's positive 6. My line's going up and to the right, so I know that we're good. All right, and our last example. Again, my y is on the right-hand side. If that bothers you, simply just trade places. Put it on the left. But look at what's going on here. I've got 2 negatives. Minus negative 4x. 2 negatives make a positive. So my slope would actually be positive 4x, and my y-intercept is positive 8. So something that looked a little bit complicated, I cleaned it up. Whenever you see 2 negatives, clean it up. Y equals 4x plus 8. So I would come up to 8 on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put my point there. My slope is 4 over 1. Slope should always be written as a fraction. And when I go up 4 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I go over 1, I almost ran out of room on my graph. Let me show you a trick. If we would have ran out of room, you could simply say, well, I'm going to make that negative 4 over negative 1, okay? Because 2 negatives make a positive. And what I could have done is went down 4 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, and left 1. So look at those 3 points. They're all falling on the same line, okay? So I'm going to try to make a straight line as best I can. Whew. Okay, my line is going up and to the right. My slope should be positive, and it is. So we just practiced graphing 6 equations in slope-intercept form. I hope you're walking away from today's lesson feeling confident in your ability to graph equations. I'll see you in the next lesson.